Hi there. My name's Heather, and if you're just joining in, make sure you have two blocks, a couple pillows, and a blanket, and maybe you want some extra small pillows. Just grab whatever you think you might need for this practice. We are going to support ourselves in these various postures. So, yeah, go ahead and grab all the stuff that you need for today's practice. All right, so it's 3:30 now, so we'll get started. Again, my name's Heather, and welcome to Yin. If you haven't done so already, make sure you have one blanket, two pillows. If you have a bolster, that's great too. Either or works. I don't have a bolster, so I'm going to use some pillows here. And I have an additional pillow, so feel free to grab as many props as you would like. Um, okay. Give me just a second. Something went off here and I need to check it. Just want to. All right, cool. So this is my first time doing class this way. So this is a very interesting experience. So thank you for joining me on this journey. To begin, prop yourself up on a blanket. You're going to sit towards the edge. This is so that your spine can remain erect and the crown of the head is aspiring towards the ceiling, and the sit bones are rooting down into the floor, into your blanket. And just gently relax the hands in your lap. And then, if it feels comfortable to do so, go ahead and close the eyes. And take a few breaths here, allowing yourself to settle into the pose here, the seated posture. Notice the sensations that you're experiencing in your body so far. Notice the experience of the breath as it enters and exits the body. Allow the hips to relax. Separate the teeth and loosen the jaw. Maybe give it a swivel side to side. Feel the shoulders relaxing down towards the hips. Collarbones spread open. Belly gently toning in. And we'll take 3 cleansing breaths. Inhale through the nose. Open up inside out. Twice more. Inhale. One more time. Inhale. So as much as you can throughout the course of this practice, tether the mind to the breath. Allow the breath to become the most interesting thing you've experienced all day. This might be your first opportunity to sit and be quiet with yourself and your experience. So if you notice those thoughts coming in, imagine them like little birds flying into a cage. There's two doors. They come in one and go out the other. Okay, so there's no storyline that you need to follow here, and there's no necessity to try to rid yourself of these thoughts, but just notice them come up and then let them go. And then keep redirecting your attention to your breath and to the sensations in your body. And at this moment, you can feel free to tap into your Ujjayi breath. That's an oceanic breath. It's you're inhaling through the nose, you're exhaling through the throat, but you have closed lips, and it sounds like an ocean. So go ahead and flutter the eyes open. Give me just a second. Checking here. Okay. So to begin, you're going to we're going to begin in what's called butterfly, and in other practices, it's referred to as Badakanasana. But have the soles of the feet pressing into one another, but create more of a diamond shape here, okay? And you can continue to sit on that blanket, and here you're going to grab if you have a bolster, you can like karate chop it into you and lean forward. Or you're going to just grab two blankets, and maybe you'll need blocks for your head. So I'm just going to jab these in here. And so when I lean forward, I'd like a little extra support. So, so I can ground my forehead to the block. All right, and we're going to hold here for 5 minutes. So approximate a shape. So the 3 tenets of Yin, you approximate a shape, and then you go towards your edge. So we're not trying to, your edge is, you begin to feel some sensation, but you're not experiencing pain. Okay, so if you notice anything sharp or jagged, you want to come out of that. So find a shape that you can hold for 5 minutes here, and don't worry about the time. I'm keeping track of that. And so we're getting into the inner leg line here, and we're also stretching across the back. Today's sequence is all about the spine and some aspects of the hips and the inner groin here. Again, once you settle, the point is to stay in the pose. So if you're noticing you're fidgeting, so try to get all those wiggles out. Find a pose that you can maintain for the course of 5 minutes. And just allow yourself to settle there. Be in the sensation. Utilize the breath, that Ujjayi breath that I introduced at the beginning. That oceanic sound is, really calming to the nervous system and helps you to root into the sensation and to navigate sensation, which, in Yin sometimes can be very challenging, not only physically, but emotionally and mentally. So, again, approximating a shape, find your edge, find stillness, and we'll hold for time here. Again, if you notice any thoughts coming up or any sort of agitation in the body, just connect with your breath. It will help hold your hand through that experience. And the reason we support our body in these shapes, because if we're hanging out in space, then it's really difficult to let go. You're gripping maybe in the groin area or wherever, dependent upon the pose. And so we prop ourselves up and support ourselves so we can give ourselves the space to just, really lean in and let go. It gives your body an opportunity to surrender. Okay. If you ever need to come out of the shape, please do so. Again, if you're noticing sharp, jagged, painful sensations, that would be an indication that you need to either come out or support yourself. Um, Sometimes in Badakanasana or butterfly, it's nice to have blocks under the knees. So if you feel you need to do that, by all means. We have a couple more minutes here. Perhaps you can turn your attention to the changing of the sensation. Notice how anything might have shifted, whether that's emotions or um, your mind, your body. One more minute here. All right. At this point, go ahead and gently reach press the fingertips into the floor to bring yourself upright. Move in a slow and gentle way. Um, Then take your hands, scoop them underneath the knees, close the knees together like a book, and press the feet together. And you can just go ahead and place the hands behind you, fingertips pointing towards the back. And you'll just gently windshield wiper the legs side to side. So in Yin, we'll do a pose and then we'll have a counter pose. And in that counter pose, there is a kind of a rebounding effect. So when you come out of the pose, you might notice some sensitivity or tenderness, and that's totally normal. So we come and pause in this counter pose before moving on into our next. Okay, so feel free to give yourself a little shaky shake, wiggle, wiggle side to side, and then we'll go into our next shape. So the next shape is Sphinx Pose, and you're going to want to set your blanket off to the side if you use that. And we're going to place a pillow under the pelvis here. This will take out some of, this Sphinx Pose can be quite intense for the lower back, and this will take out some of that intensity because we're going to be holding it. This one we won't be holding for 5 minutes. We'll do 3 1-minute segments, okay? So come to lie down on your bolster or your pillow, whatever you have. Place the elbows under the shoulders. And then you can sink into your shoulders here, unlike in vinyasa. And you can allow the head to bow. And again, don't worry about time. I'm keeping track of that here. And so we'll hold in Sphinx for a minute, 3 times. Again, notice the sensations that you're experiencing in your body. Notice the quality of your breath. And again, if you're feeling any sharp, jagged sensations, you'll want to come out, and you can just lie down if you're experiencing that. Elbows will be splayed out to the side, hands stacked. And as we move here, since we're all kind of alone but together, we can't hear each other, feel free to let out any kind of audible sighs as you're breathing that you would like. It's a good release. All right, go ahead and splay the elbows out to the side, stack the hand on right hand on top of left, or either, it doesn't matter, either or. And you'll just bring the crown of the head. Okay, and you can feel free to wiggle a little bit here. Moving the hips side to side. All right, go ahead and come back into Sphinx, elbows under the shoulders, forearms, palms pressing down. Go ahead and look forward in the gaze. Connect with your breath. Where are you gripping in your body? So when you're gripping, the muscles are being engaged, and Yin is targeting the connective tissue, the joints, and in order to do that, you need to take on a receptive quality, which is Yin is like the counterbalance to Yang style, which is more active. So Yin is more receptive. All right, go ahead and splay the elbows out to the side. Restack the palms, forehead down. Feel free to wiggle side to side, loosening up the lower back. I really appreciate the support of the bolster, the pillow under the pelvis. I did this practice earlier without it, and it's quite a different experience. So this is a little more gentle. Okay, one more time. Go ahead, bring those elbows back under the shoulders. Perhaps now you can note a difference between the first one and this one. Just want to encourage you to get infinitely curious about your body and the various sensations you experience today throughout practice. I know for myself, it's easy to check out, and these bodies, it feels like sometimes nobody's home. So this practice really gives us an opportunity to come home and be with what is, without any need to change or have things be different. Go ahead, splay the elbows out. Rest the forehead down. Okay. So we have one more pose on our belly here. So when you're ready, you'll come up. Now, this is seal pose. So you're going to turn the fingertips out. Okay, this can be very intense. This is a lot of effort for me personally. Okay, so you're pressing the palms into the ground, so the forearms are no longer resting, and the hands are extended, beyond, rather than being under the shoulder, they're out in front of you, and the palms are, with their fingertips, are turning outwards, so right to left, and you are pressing into those palms, and we'll hold here for a minute. Could you imagine 5 minutes here? Maybe someday. All right, just a couple more seconds here. All right, go ahead and lay back down. This time, feel free to bend the knees, and so the feet are pointing up and your windshield wipering this way, side to side. So you might notice some tenderness in the lower back, and this really feels nice and gentle towards that feeling. All right, go ahead and release the feet back down. Prop your hands on your shoulders and press up. So we're gonna come into child's pose. This is gonna be a wide-legged child's pose. Don't mind me, I have to keep checking this because it shuts off on me. All right. So for your your wide-legged child's pose, you're gonna have your two blocks. You're going to set one in front of the other, and you're going to create this little platform on which your bolster or your pillows are going to land, okay? And again, I might need a little extra here, so I have this little small pillow, okay? Your blanket can work. I think earlier I used a folded blanket on top of this even. Yeah, so, build yourself a fort here. Make yourself comfortable. Not too comfortable, because we are trying to navigate sensation here, all right? So then go ahead, bend forward, and the arms can come around, and you can hold on to your whole setting here. And we'll hold here in child's pose for 5 minutes. So just to remind you of the tenets, so in Yin Yoga, we approximate a shape, we go to our edge, we find our edge. So again, you might feel some dull, aching sensations, some compression, all fine. What you don't want to experience is sharp, jagged pain. So I'm not in your body, you are, so you have to pay attention to these things, as we all do for ourselves. So just be mindful of that. You know, if your legs or something starts tingling, you've already stayed too long, okay? And then the second tenet is to be still. So after your wiggles are out, you find stillness, remembering that if you move, the muscles engage. And we're trying to not do that, let's say. And we'll hold for time is the third tenet. If you notice any gripping, just send the breath. I like to think of that area that's compressed or where there's tension, you know, imagine you could stick a balloon in there and inflate it with your breath, and it kind of melts it away. And you might notice dropping down or increased surrender there. My floor is vibrating from this thunder. It's kind of interesting. We're stretching out the back here. We're targeting the joint, the spine. That sounded funny in my head, but about a minute and a half here. All right. Go ahead and press the palms into the floor. Bring yourself up to seated. Move slowly, gently, intentionally. You set your props off to the side. Go ahead and grab the blanket again. We're going to come to seated on the edge of that, like the beginning. And we're setting up here for caterpillar or a forward fold. Okay. And have your props nearby because you might want them. So go ahead and extend the legs forward. Now, I think I mentioned in the beginning, if you have a bolster, you just karate chop it and you can just hang out. Otherwise, you just grab two pillows support yourself in a way that you need. So my head is continuing to hang out in space, so I'm going to prop my forehead onto a block. Okay, release any sort of holding. I'm so used to pointing the toes straight up in my forward folds here. So just if you're doing that, let go of that and just relax here. If you find that your hamstrings are really tight, you can feel free to put any sort of propping right under the knees. Having some slight bend in the knees could be helpful. And if you're up on a block, you're leaning forwards. And it's okay if the spine rounds here. Notice what you're feeling, what you're experiencing, whether that's in the body, mind, or emotional place. Notice how the pose is shifted. Again, notice any areas where you might be gripping. Send the breath there and inflate that area. And notice how also, what does silence do? Sometimes, that could be a welcomed thing. Other times it might be anxiety inducing or nerve wracking. So just like notice how you respond to these sensations, whatever form they take. Just get curious about all of those. And again, return your attention to the breath. The breath is our constant companion. It's there with us always, and it's a wonderful tool. Not only does it keep us alive, but if we can direct our attention to it, then it can help us navigate some pretty challenging circumstances. And I've found that extraordinarily useful. When I feel nervous or scared, few more seconds here. About 20 to be exact. Alrighty, go ahead and lift the head. Again, you might experience some tenderness in the lower back or elsewhere, so just move very gently, slowly. You'll come upright, set your props off to the side, and again, return the hands so that the fingertips are facing back. And you can lift up in the chest, so you have like a little mini back bend here. Feel free to wiggle the legs side to side if you'd like. All right, on to our next pose, which will be dragonfly. We're going to do left and right here. So it's akin to a low lunge. And you'll have your blocks nearby because you're going to want to place your hands on top of those. And let's begin with the left leg forward. Okay. Oh, one important thing. If you have sensitive knees, you're going to want to place a blanket across your mat so they're protected. I'm on a hard wooden floor here, so a little extra cushioning's nice. Okay, so the left leg is forward, and you're going to have the blocks on the inside of your left knee here. And it can be on a tall height or a lower height. It's up to you. Some of you might feel comfortable lying your forearms down on the ground. We're just going to hold this for 3 minutes a piece. And I'm going to place my palms on flat blocks here. And just go ahead and sink the hips. Look forward. So as this might be a little more challenging for some, it certainly is for me. I like to close my eyes because by withdrawing the sense of vision, it allows me to really connect inwards and really dig into those sensations and be with them. If the eyes are open, the gaze often is flitting about the room, wherever you may be, and it stirs up the thoughts and stirs up the emotions. So by closing the eyes, we can be with the sensation as it is here and, really connect with that versus scrambling to move away from it. And again, connect with your breath. So you're going to feel some action or activity like in the groin, in the hip flexor, this extended leg. You're feeling it probably across the top of your hip. Maybe you feel it like under your leg here and on the inner leg. Okay. So yin is also about, everything is an invitation to the body. We're not going to get there through force. You want to invite the body to let go. You're not going to force it into submission or receptivity. You just, you have this shape, and, we put our bodies in these various shapes, and in order to explore the breath and sensation. Okay. And, each exhalation can be an opportunity to let go of something that isn't serving you. So I like to think of the breath sometimes as an opportunity. And you might find that as you hold, that you begin to soften in various ways that may or may not allow you to get deeper into the pose. Again, we're just trying to find our edge here. This gets me there pretty quickly, this shape. So yeah, we have about 35 seconds left. And again, I encourage you to let out audible sighs. It's the best. It feels really good. Okay. So you're going to gently back the hips up. So you're more in this kind of like 90-degree shape here. Pause before doing anything else because you know this can be very tender. So you want to give yourself an opportunity to kind of rebound from that before moving on. Just give yourself the space to recenter, to recalibrate. And then go ahead, switch that leg so it meets the right. And then we're going to bring the right leg forward this time. Oof. All right. Okay. Again, you can rest your forearms on blocks if you wanted to. I'm just going to place my hands on these blocks. It brings the floor a little closer and sink gently forward, finding my edge here. Take a nice inhale through the nose and exhale side out. And, you know, when we do these individual sides, you might note differences between the sides. You know, our bodies aren't like perfectly symmetrical, so it stands to reason there'll be differences, you know, in flexibility and beyond. Again, you can experiment with closing your eyes, seeing how that enables you to be with sensation. You know, who knows? You could be feeling really good stuff. I don't know. um, I don't want to like paint like you know, all these postures the same or anything. You know, it's going to be different in every body. It's going to be different. So that's why I encourage you to, you know, be with, you know, get so fascinated with your body because, you know, it's the only experience you have. You can't just climb into another body and see what that's like, you know. One more minute here. All right, go ahead and gently back the hips up. Pause here. And then go ahead and bring the knees together and set your blocks off to the side. And you'll come into downward facing dog. That'll be our counter pose for this. And feel free to pedal out your dog. Take the doggy for a walk. Move in any way that feels inviting, exciting, interesting, you name it. And keep breathing. And then find stillness for a few moments. Have a slight bend in the knees, lift the sit bones up, press through the palms. And then go ahead, bring the knees down. And now we're gonna refold that blanket back up. And we're gonna do a straddle fold here. So you'll come to sit on the edge of that blanket, and you're gonna bring your legs into straddle fold. Maybe you have to maneuver around a puppy dog. All right, so in your straddle fold, similarly to our forward fold or caterpillar that we did earlier, you're gonna wanna prop yourself up in a way that is supportive and then, you know, if your crown of the head, not your crown of your head, your forehead is like hanging out in space, you can, you know, if it doesn't reach down, then you can place a block. Well, you just used your blocks, so maybe that's not an option. Maybe you have like an extra little pillow nearby that you can utilize. Release any tension in your toes, your ankles. Notice if, you know, you kind of spaced out or anything like that, and just, you know, no judgment, just return to your breath. All right, go ahead and bring yourself back upright. Set your pillows off to the side. You're going to slide your hands under the knees, bring them back together, slide them forward. So now you're in Dandasana. Just give yourself a little shake, side to side. Okay. And then we'll come down onto our backs. Okay. So setting up for spinal twist. So on your back, place the feet on the ground, knees pointing straight up. And so the heels, the ankles are directly under the knees, and the feet are hip width distance apart. Okay. And you're going to press into the feet on an inhale. So inhale. And then switch the pelvis off to the right a couple inches. And then turn over onto your left side. Okay. And then revolve open so that so that your arms are reaching out straight out of the shoulders. Okay. Now, if you find that you have a lot of space, sorry, puppy. If you have a lot of space in between the knees here, you might want to place a pillow there. Also, if you have some tenderness in the lower back, you want to bring the knees up towards the armpit region. Okay. And we'll hold here for 3 minutes on each side. So again, the 3 tenets were approximate shape, find our edge, and find stillness, and then hold for time. Notice the quality of the breath. Each of these postures may or may not, may affect how you breathe. So here we are in a twist in the spine here. And for me personally, I find it more challenging to breathe here. I have a lot of tension throughout the ribs. And I remember in the beginning of my practice as a yoga practitioner that I used to get very panicky whenever we do spinal twists. I would get very scared. So if you have, different kinds of emotions coming up for you, you know, that's okay. I hear you. Just, use the breath to the best of your ability to be with that sensation. It's hard to encourage you to stay with fear, but I know in my experience that, the more I can stay with my fear and go towards it rather than away from it, I have the most amazing experiences. Of course, it's not comfortable. That's okay. You have to go through the muck, to get to the other side. That's just truth right there. All right, go ahead, inhale back to center. Reorient the pelvis so it's back to neutral. Again, you might feel some tenderness in the lower back and in the ribs. Take an inhale here, feel the chest expand. Exhale to release. And then press into your feet. You'll switch the pelvis off to the left side this time and turn over to your right. Stack the knees and then open back up. Oof. So for me on this side, my shoulder's hanging out in space, and that might, prove a challenge to my body over time. So if you have anything like that, um, of course, prop yourself. Even in the first few moments, that's released a little bit. So. And notice how the side may or may not feel differently. Notice any urge to fidget. A little under a minute here. Again, if you ever notice any tingling, that would be the time to exit the pose. I was beginning to feel something like that, so I'm going to leave. And now you too can leave. Go ahead and bring the knees back to center. Reorient the pelvis so you're in a neutral pose here. And next pose is Shavasana, but knock the knees together first. I'm just going to pause here, give the back, a moment to recalibrate here. Okay. Go ahead, extend the legs forward. And now in Shavasana, feel free to prop in any way that you would like. I do love to have a pillow under the knees or blocks. Pillow's much nicer though. And feel free to lay a blanket over the pelvis. I would do that, but my doggy's currently using it as a bed. So, Shavasana is the most important pose. This is where, all the work is done and you're giving yourself the gift of total relaxation here. So let go of any residual tension or efforts being made in the body or the breath. Okay. Shimmy the shoulders down away from the ears. Shavasana. Begin to find some movement in the fingertips and toes. Gently pull the knees into the chest. Give yourself a squeeze. Maybe you rock side to side, massaging out the sacrum. You'll roll over to one side, pause there. Take a nice inhale through the nose. Exhale, side out. Use the palms to press into the floor to bring yourself up to seated. Keep the eyes closed. Bring the palms to heart center. Gently bow the head. Take a moment to acknowledge the work that you've done today, for coming to your mat, for being with sensation and breath. Okay. Thank you so much for joining in today. I'm greatly appreciative to have you, and I hope that you all have a wonderful rest of your evening and that you sleep well. And yeah, take care of yourselves. Thank you. Bye.